Uncle Sandy.
Well, hey, Beanies, good to see you.
Great to see you here.
I'm so privileged to be with you today.
Yeah, you look good, healthy.
I'm feeling pretty good.
Me
you,
too.
You always look good. You always full of energy. There's such energy. As long as I've known you, you've been energy.
That's honestly a gift from God, Uncle
Yeah.
Sandy. I just have so much to thank from you as a mentor from a very young age to now. And
How did we meet?
I think it honestly for me was sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
What English was that?
English too. It's a literature, I think. Literature, yeah.
And you gave out
In the old building?
in the old building
The old
at Loma Academy, and you gave out tasks for certain students that you trusted. I don't know if you remember the names.
What
of
was your
those.
task?
I was like kind of like your right hand. I had to take
Yeah.
your notes. Ty.
So if I think they happened to me, you were me.
It was me. Yeah. My favorite though, Uncle Sandy, was the one time I called sick, and you called my cell phone, and you're like, Beanie, what page are we on? And I literally was like, Uncle, I'm vomiting right now. And
We thought I was lost?
yeah, literally, truly. So, and after that, the rest is history. And then senior year, we moved to the new building.
Oh, yes.
But then our relationship, I think, grew deeper when I tried out for soccer, and you knew that was not my sport, but because I couldn't make it to basketball, you're like, just try. And I was like, okay. And then I got into JV, and that was,
Yeah, good times.
that was
good
it.
times.
Yeah.
Well, I've been thinking about this interview that we're doing today.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, but I'm just like, this is Beanie. What am I nervous
I know,
about?
which I felt so honored. I was like, this is easy. This is just talking to a family member. So
Right.
I'm excited.
Since I've known you, we've been kind of like on the same page for the most part. But if there were something about the older people, the older generation that you thought needed to be addressed or needed to be changed, what would that be? What would be something you would say to us that we need to hear, even if it was just like a tough thing to say?
The first thing that comes to mind, Uncle Sandy, is that at the end of the day, we serve the same God. I don't know if it's like in the little things of our denomination or like in each of our walks with Christ, but somehow along the roads as a generation, it seems like we serve different gods. But at the end of the day, I would like to emphasize that even if we may look different than that generation or may worship differently, at the end of the day, like all the honor and glory goes to the same person, the same power. So that's something that I've been praying about too, because I look at your generation, Uncle Sam, and I'm like, I'm jealous of what you guys have. That unity and the fire that hasn't dimmed, while I look at my generation and it's like a flickering light.
Yeah.
And so how do you guys keep that fire going?
If you think about it, it's like a relationship. When you're with your first love or something, you're so excited. But then as your love mature,
Yeah.
you may not have the appearance of being excited, but you have a deeper, stronger bond. I know with a first love for Christian, the Bible says that you've lost your first love.
Right.
But the more you grow into Christ, the more you understand Him and build a friendship and trusting friendship,
Right.
and you see how He works in your life. Because you know how, I don't know if you've heard this before, but the older you get, when you look back upon your life, you see things where you made decisions that you would have made differently if you could see perspective.
Right.
So it looks to me as though God understands all of that and He's still close to us. And so I think the passion is still there. We're still committed, but it's a deeper, richer, not so hyperactive,
Right.
over the top kind of, I'm on a street corner passing out folders or flyers. I'm still deep in Christ's love.
What do you think then, Uncle Sandy, like looking at my generation that like has diminished that spark? Because like I talk to peers my age and they have pegged me as the weird one to still be in church, to still have this intimate relationship with God, to be able to talk to mentors in the church, have intimate relationships with our elders and pastors, be a crucial part of our church now.
Right.
And I am the odd one out.
I think there are more people like that than you realize,
Right.
but it seems to be a pattern or a trend, because I really feel as though the time is coming when the youth will be the ones that will be the leaders in the church, and you're just an example of God doing that. I want to say that as an older person, I respect that energy I saw. I don't know if you were here for Pathfinder Sabbath, for
Yes,
example.
yes.
So those 4 sermonettes from those young people. Oh my goodness, that's the kind of passion that we will see multiply.
Right.
It may feel as though sometimes because we have different perspectives on things. When I was a youth, Sabbath was a no activity day. It was lie low, wait for sunset, and get through this time. I appreciate how your generation takes to the mountains and takes to the beach and takes to doing stuff that shows excitement and not just the fear of doing something wrong. So I think there is something there to appreciate, rather than just assume that, oh, we're all left field, there's only a few of us. No, there are many of you who are still enthusiastic about it. Maybe it's shown in a different kind of a way.
Would you say there were people like that in your generation, Uncle Sandy, who were kind of like too into Jesus or not there yet?
Oh yeah, there were lots of people who were way out there, so far out there that you were like, oh my goodness, can I ever get to that place? But as you grow and you realize the extremes may not be a safe place, because I've seen people who talk, let's say they talk Bible all the time. When a hurdle comes, then there's nothing to hang on to. You know, it's just like they fall apart. They seem to have forgotten what they were talking about all the time. So I think just to build a steady, constant relationship with Jesus is a secret, regardless of what age you are.
Right.
I remember thinking as a young person that by the time I got this age, we wouldn't be here anymore. I didn't think it was going to last this long. I know when I took care, it was a huge threat. I was like, this could be it.
Right.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Go for
One
it,
time
Uncle.
when I was a college freshman, I was on the farm, working in the farm.
Always.
And
yes.
one morning, I was up early, 3:30, going to the farm, and the whole sky began to pulsate. It was incredible.
Pulsate as in?
And lights flashing across the sky. And I was running back to the dorm. Jesus is coming! Jesus is coming! I was so excited. And somebody said, those are the northern lights. I thought that was a moment. And I'm wondering, do people in your generation still have in their mind that Christ coming is imminent, is like soon, or are they thinking, I don't know when he's coming, whenever?
I don't want to say it's the latter, Uncle Sandy. It's kind of like, especially those of us who are raised in the faith, they're like, we're still here.
Right.
Same like how you were thinking. We were instilled that we have to run for the hills when that day were to come.
And it's coming soon.
They've been saying that for our whole lifetime.
Right.
Hasn't come yet.
Right.
So why prepare ourselves for that day
Right.
if he hasn't come yet?
I don't think that we need to have that fear that it could be this moment
Right.
or this very instant, but there's still a quality or a strength in the sense that Christ coming is imminent, that he is coming, and that we're not in this bad situation forever. How can we keep that alive without having the paranoia or the I'm going to miss something? I know when I was a teenager, I'm thinking, oh boy, give me a few more years, don't come so soon. Okay.
Right, Uncle. Like even for me, I'm biased, and I'm like, Jesus, please don't come until I'm married. You know, like little things like that.
People still say that?
Yes, people do still say that, Uncle. So it's like, I say that, but I think a lot of people my generation, Uncle Sandy, you said it, they haven't had that relationship with God to understand that him coming isn't to instill fear on us or to like worry us. For me, and I just talked about this with my mom and sister, we have the benefit that the biblical people didn't have, which is we know how the story ends.
Ah, yes.
You know, Uncle Sandy, like we know that after all of this is over, Jesus is coming again because he won the war. He won the fight. But I think my generation is so fixated on the do's and don'ts of what Jesus needs to save them that they don't understand that it's very simple, and the imminent and the importance of Jesus' second coming is still very relevant today.
What can a person of my generation do to reassure younger adults, maybe teens even, that there is no need to fear? What would be a thing that we could do? Is there anything we can say from our experience? Because we have lived a little bit longer and we've had experiences. We've seen near crises and we've seen him pull us through.
Right.
Is there anything we can do that would give a sense of comfort or encouragement to younger people?
I think this is the best way to do it, Uncle Sandy, is just to have that one-on-one conversation with them where it's safe, judgment-free, and able for them to share what they think about Jesus' second coming, but if anything, have your guys' own experience of what it was like to be our age and have the questions of how important is Jesus' second coming.
Do you think that young people are actually open to having friendships with older adults?
I can't speak on behalf of everybody my generation, Uncle Sandy, but I think that's something all of us can benefit from, is because with the cultural divide or like age divide or all those differences each of us have, I think that's the beauty of church and community, is being able to talk about Jesus and like these important matters that have, and there's something I have benefited from of having relationships outside of your immediate blood family.
Right.
That's just so beautiful. Like you can learn more just because you didn't know their exact walk of life because you weren't walking with them at that time. So to have a senior talk to one of us younger ones, I think we can learn a lot from it.
So that might be something that we could pursue, some more organized
Yeah.
way, rather than just be a random kind of a hidden miss. We could have
Right.
an organized, some kind of intergenerational study group or something like that. We would
A
those
Bible study,
friendships.
something,
yeah, those
right, Uncle Sandy?
friendships
I mean, do you think you could benefit from that, Uncle Sandy?
I think we could put it together. I think
Right.
two of us could do something if we think about it.
I mean, Uncle Sandy, like, with that being said, I could learn so much from you. I already do. You were literally my educator. But, like, is there anything you can say looking at the generations after you that they have taught you? If we've taught you anything, Uncle Sandy?
Yeah, I'm working I'm on a church board, and I see people your age group,
Yeah.
and I see their passion
Yeah.
in difficult situations, difficult decision making. I see their commitment. They may not have all the resources of older adults,
Yeah.
but they have the commitment, and that burn, that zeal, has inspired me to keep going. So clearly, we can learn a lot from the youth, the energy,
Yeah.
the commitment. It's a beautiful thing.
I guess that's one thing I always wonder was, like, if we were teaching you guys anything, because I feel like we're always, like, uproar or something, you know, like this, they're, like, doing something like we shouldn't have done, you know, A, B, C, and D. So I never knew if you guys were, like, really, like, still watching us, honestly, because a lot of us has strayed away. But hearing that makes me happy, knowing that, like, we're still able to make an impact.
Yes. There's one more thing I'd like to talk about in terms of your contributions. So our church is really famous for giving children opportunities.
Yeah.
We have kids preaching on Sabbath. We have
Yeah.
the Pathfinders, the Adventures, all these different clubs. I think a way in which the young adults can still be of great service is in the Sabbath schools. There seems to be like a void of teachers or pianists, and the gap is the parents are going to be the ones who are teaching because their kids are in there. But if
Right.
there could be a group of younger people in that 20s, 30s group who may not have any kids of their own, but can still volunteer in those rooms, I think it would be a great blessing.
I brought that up, Uncle Sandy, once actually to the young adult ministries since we were there, and it's kind of hard because the feedback I got was we'd love to help, but we also come on Sabbath, you know, for our own community and to be our own spiritually fed.
Right,
because personally, I have even thought about wanting to volunteer in a Sabbath school room, but then I think about it, it's like I'm gonna spread myself too thin. If I were to volunteer in a children's ministry and still be involved in my young adult group, that I felt as if I would be doing myself a disservice with my relationship with God if I were kind of like half, you know, doing one foot here, Uncle Sandy, one foot in the other.
I appreciate that because, you know, an older person might say, well, let the young person do it, it's their turn. But your point about getting your own charge,
Yeah.
getting that feeder, because all the classes meet at the same time,
Right.
getting your own feeder makes a lot of sense to me.
Thank you, Uncle Sandy. Like, I never know, you know, because it's like I do see our bulletin literally always says help wanted,
Yeah,
you know, Sabbath
yeah.
school teachers wanted, and I would love to help, but that's just not. We need to get fed too.
I have one last thing. If there is something that your parents needed to hear from a person who in their age group about parenting older or young adult kids, what would you like your parents to hear if one of us could talk to them?
The number one thing I would tell them, Uncle Sandy, is you did a good job raising your kid. Trust in the way you raised them.
Yes,
You raised them in the church. They know who Jesus is, not because it was the Jesus you taught them to believe in, but because they took the seed that they planted in us, their children, and watered it. My parents, personally, Uncle Sandy, are scared of the world we live in. So they still have me as a young adult, you know, don't do this, don't do that, like, be careful. But sometimes, and I'm working on it right now, and to be like, I haven't explicitly told them. So if someone else could tell them, be like, you raised a great daughter, trust her, like, she's safe in the Lord's hands, like, it would mean so much. Because I think a lot of parents at the end of the day, you guys always worry. Doesn't matter how old you guys are.
I think we're just afraid of our parents, our kids going off the deep end or something
Right.
happening to them. You want them to
Right.
call in, text in when they're late, or all these
Right.
things. And they're adults.
Right.
It's a very stressful time for parents of adult kids. So I'll bear that in mind as I see parents of young adults. And yeah, it's a great point. You know, they're your children, but they're also God's
Right.
children, and He has a greater capacity to care for them than even we do. So I appreciate that.
I have one more question for you, Uncle Sandy.
Sure.
If you could tell younger Uncle Sandy what the projection of the church would look like today, what would you tell him?
I would say hang in there and keep faithful. I mean, the church is God's baby. He is not going to desert it.
Right.
It will have some struggles because we're in a world of fight. We're in a spiritual battle. Don't get discouraged. God will see us through, and He's faithful. When things appear to be going off the tracks, it's just a chance for us to see a different perspective. So don't get discouraged. Just like you say, have confidence, have faith. God is in charge, not humans. And they can do nothing to us. Nothing can befall us that He is not aware of.
Right. So Uncle Sandy, where do you see God leading in your life right now?
This is just a great question because, as you know, I'm retired from the academy.
Yeah.
I've served my full life there, 41 years, and I'm semi-retired, but I'm still working as a teacher. I'm at the college, Riverside City College, and I have a class of 25 students, and they are God's children too.
Right.
And we do not need to interject our faith and our convictions. We just need to live a godly life. Live a life that, your students should not be afraid of you. Your students should see you as an ally. And I see God giving me that opportunity. I'm at a second college with my whole class is nursing students.
Okay.
And they are servant leaders. They want to serve, but they have got to get through this English hurdle. So my job is to help them to see this is a small hurdle. You already have the heart for nursing. Many of you are already nurses to begin with, the LVNs, becoming RNs. So you have a heart for service. I'm here to help you, to assist you. And I'm praying daily that God will help me to do that in these adults' lives, So I see His powerful ministry, but I see it most in the ability to be a grandparent, to give my own kids a breather, or to give them support as they need it. I can't go and superimpose myself and be their kids' parents, but I can be an aid. And if they call, I want to be able to go. Right. And I've seen that happening in my life, so I really appreciate that. Yeah. How about you?
Oof, that's a heavy one, Uncle Sandy. I feel like sometimes I don't think God is using me or leading me. And then, as you know, I just truly reoriented myself back at home this past year. But I see He's leading me in church.
Yes.
I see the way He's opened doors for me to be a part of nominating committee, to be on the board, to be here, to have this interview with you, Uncle Sandy, and just to be a young adult leader and just to truly be a member of this church. And I think that was something I haven't felt the past 8 years I was away from home. So to know that He's leading me to serve Him and His people, I think it's a beautiful calling that I get to embrace.
I want you to know that it's noticed. I notice it, others notice it, my wife mentions it. Whenever we see you, there's Beanie, she's our girl. So you are precious, and I'm glad God is using you.
Oh, I'm glad to go to the same church as you, Uncle Sandy.
Yes. what a beautiful thing.
It is.
So good talking to you, Beanie.
Great talk, Uncle Sandy.